This is the Remix Austin Meetup. If this is your first time here and you're maybe not super familiar with what Remix is, it's a web framework built on top of React, and it'll let you build websites. Kind of mixes a flavor of kind of old style web development with some of the fun new stuff. So it's neat. And this meetup is mostly just to talk about cool things that you can do in Remix, interesting projects that people built using Remix, interesting ideas throughout it. Tonight we have Brian, who will be talking about education and coding camps and just kind of his thoughts there, and incorporating Remix into that somehow. So I'm super excited to see what that looks like. So yeah, before we get started, I just want to talk about some things that are going on in Remix world, some updates, or recent updates, I should say. So the main thing that I've been noticing that Remix has been working on that's pretty cool. A lot of their V2 feature flags, I think they're getting pretty close to launching V2, which would be really cool. The big one, though, if you haven't been following, is it was unstable dev for quite a while, and they just released it as stable dev. If you don't know what that means, it's really V2 dev. Basically, the idea is they have HMR, which is hot module reloading, which is something that probably should have had from the beginning, but they didn't, and that's the reality. And then something called hot data reloading, which is kind of something they sort of coined. If you don't really know what I'm talking about, that's okay, because there are like 3 really great videos that Pedro, the developer who created them, made on the Remix Run YouTube channel. So if you're interested in compilers and bundlers and all that kind of fun stuff, it's a good kind of intro into both how they did it and then also what it might mean for your Remix application. Basically, it just means your dev experience is a lot better for for free, which I like free things most of the time. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on in the Remix world. That's pretty cool, in my opinion. And then, as always, and I'll shout this out at the end again, we do have a website that we work on as a community. So if you go to remixaustin.com, you see how we have this lovely website. Mostly it's just SEO to get you to the meetup website itself, but we are always thinking of ways we can expand this and develop it. So if you have any ideas for how to make this better, feel free to go to the GitHub, which you can get to also from the website. It's kind of circular that way. And you can just create a discussion with maybe an idea that you have. We have a few discussions, a few discussions that we've had since basically the beginning of it, talking about like what we're trying to build, different ideas, how to maybe build a blog, which was something that Matt kind of started. We still only have the one lonely blog.
Needs a friend.
Definitely
Every
gotta,
blog post needs a friend, like blog post.
Yeah, we need to be able to like scroll. That would be nice. So anyway, so if that's something you're interested in, or if you're interested in content creation but want to do it in a place where you could have feedback and whatnot, this is definitely a good place to do that. So that's pretty much it from the housekeeping side. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over and let Brian give his presentation.
I'm Brian Bartholomew. I flew all the way here just to talk to you guys from Phoenix. Not really, there's a big long story I won't get into, but Matt, who's a long-term member of your guys' stuff, we met at Remix Conf, and he was like, I'm kind of looking for a new job. And I was like, I'm kind of looking to hire a new guy. So long story short, he's on my team now. And I think this is like, I'm a hiring manager at my company, also a software engineer. And I think these types of environments are the best places to meet people and also the best places to find your next opportunity. I taught at a boot camp in Minnesota for a while. And the people that did this are the people that got jobs. The people that didn't do this usually didn't get jobs, whether it's this one or a JS meetup or any other type of meetup. These are the backbones of our community, and they're the easiest ways to get your foot in the door. So props to you guys being here. And if you know someone that's looking for a job, drag them here, because these are the places to meet people. If you're looking for a job, real quick, raise your hand. Okay, so anyone that has a job and thinks that maybe you have room on your team or know someone that might have room on your team, there are people here looking for jobs. I wish I could say I was hiring, but we just moved someone. It was really cool. There's someone on my team who was on a not the right fit. We moved them onto my team. So now my hiring blockade is blocked. Whatever. I'm blocked until October to hire anybody. But follow me on something. I don't know. I'm in the Discord server. Do we have a Discord server? I think
yeah, it's just part of the general
just the
Remix one, but we have a Remix Austin one.
Yeah. So find me in the Discord server. It's VC Brian, which isn't up here or not helpful. Man, I'm so sad about that part, but we'll get into that. This is take 2 of my slides. They didn't show up on my computer this morning, so you guys got take 2 that was created on the flight here. So my apologies. But BC Bryan is where I'm at everywhere. Or the BC Bryan, if BC Bryan was already taken because British Columbia Bryan stole it before I could get to it. And the BC doesn't stand for anything, so don't ask. Cool. So does anyone understand the, oh no, my computer's gonna go to sleep so fast all the time. We'll just move the mouse occasionally. Does anyone know what meme I was going for here? Anyone?
Yeah. It's the Apple commercial from
Yeah.
1994.
Yeah, okay, cool. At least one guy got it. So I feel good. If you haven't seen the Apple commercial from 1984, go look it up on YouTube. Someone like took all the time to get it upscaled to 4K. It looks great. It's good stuff. I'm not as cool as Apple, but I like stealing their stuff and making memes. So real quick about me, I have a wife and 4 kids. My hobbies include Pokemon TCG, like I travel and play competitively with my kids. And I beat up on adults, not kids at the tournaments. Everyone thinks that I'm playing little kids at these tournaments, but no, there's an adult section, there's a kid section. I don't beat up on the kids. My kids beat up on kids, but I have to play adults and they usually beat up on me, just cool. I'm big into gaming and all types of gaming. I worked at Wizards of the Coast for a season and worked on D&D. So that's has a very soft spot in my heart, I guess soft. I don't know. Now it's hard. It's bitter. Anywho, and I like to do coding as a hobby. It's not just my job. Anyone that's been involved with the drama on Twitter lately, this is one of the things that was floating around is like, programming is a job, just get over it. I'm like, no, I actively enjoy doing it and do it as a hobby outside of work and love teaching people about it. Cool. So what is this all about? I want to talk a little bit about the coding education system. Maybe some of the pathways that you guys have went through, some pathways that I went through, and just how some of it's broken and how it could get evolved and be better. I am totally cool with open forum. So if you all have questions or something or want to poke at something while we're talking, just raise your hand. I've been an instructor, used to conversing with people. My live coding skills are legit. I don't fail demos ever because I've had to do it so much. That's not true. They still fail. And the last piece of thing I need to warn you about is this ear is plugged like so much and I cannot hear anything out of here. And this one's still like kind of plugged because of my flight. I don't know what happened, but I can't hear. So I might be like, what? And it's not because you didn't speak loud, it's because I can't hear. So, all right, let's get into this stuff. So why me? I started coaching people at the age of 12, a wide variety of different things. The first thing I started coaching people on was chess. Moved into wrestling as a sophomore in my high school. I ran the junior program, which included K through 9th grade. And I taught all of them how to wrestle. And I continued to run that program afterwards. And I'm really good at teaching. I don't want to be too prideful about it, but there's one thing I'll be prideful about. It's my ability to teach. And with that, I love math. One small little thing about my math world that I really love is I had one test that I took and I was the only person that got 100%. The teacher said, hey, Brian, you can leave the classroom. Everyone else, you have to stay and practice this stuff. And I was like, cool. And I left and then the teacher made everyone else practice math. In college, I corrected all of my tests. This is how like annoying I am. I corrected all of my tests. And even if I didn't get 100%, I would show what I did wrong, but I would still leave it at like 94% or whatever. The teacher would be like, why you do that? I'm like, because it's still an A and I don't really care. Like, who cares, right? I know what I did wrong, I'll move on. And then they said, you should go be a tutor. And so I got pulled into the tutor world at the university, ended up teaching the math classes several times and got really engaged at the education level. And I was like, man, I'm gonna get my master's and my PhD in math. I'm gonna go teach math because I want to teach at the college level because teaching adults is so much better than teaching children because I had lots of experience teaching children. They get boogers and snot everywhere. Adults usually don't. It happens sometimes, but it's okay. So I was really hyper-focused on that. But man, long story short, I ended up coding and just loved it. I've taught over 500 students through the boot camp at the University of Minnesota, which is the same boot camp platform that's here at the University of Texas. It's the same, a lot of the universities in the United States contract with this one company to provide the boot camp. And so I'm gonna pull back the curtain on that system a little bit, talk about it, but I want to preface that the system does work. People do get jobs from it and it does change lives, but there are a few like gross parts that I don't love. And so we'll talk about that. Lastly, why you should listen to me is I dropped out of college twice. I don't have a formal college degree. I have an associate's degree, but I don't like to talk about it. But I've dropped out of college twice. Real quick, anyone in here dropped out of college more than twice? Twice is okay, but more than twice. See, one time I've been one-upped. And the dude's like, me, I dropped out of college 3 times. I was like, what? Like, why'd you go back the 3rd time? Like once and twice, like I've been there, I get it. But the 3rd time, like what was the driving factor? But it's just interesting. But you tied me, you got 2 dropouts. He's back on his phone. It's cool. We'll keep going. So I'm curious, my audience, right? Because I've got slides, they say a lot and they don't say a lot. And I'm going to be talking a lot. And I want to know who I'm talking to. So out of curiosity, who here has a computer science degree? 4-year classical computer science degree? Okay, sweet. Awesome. I love you guys. You guys are my heroes. I worked with a dude that had a computer science degree. He taught me so much stuff that I didn't know. It was really cool. I didn't realize how much I had missed out by shortcutting the system, if you will. How many here went to a boot camp to get your, okay, cool. How many did computer science degree and boot camp? Okay, those were about 20% of my students at the University of Minnesota were computer science grads and then right into boot camp because they realized that the degree they had gotten wasn't really what the world was looking for them to do and hadn't prepared them to get into the workforce. Not all programs are like that, but the University of Minnesota definitely not, it's a piece of paper. It's about that good. How many people did a self-paced boot camp, like free code camp, where you didn't pay anything, you just kind of did it on your own?
I needed supplementation.
Okay, nice. And then who would consider yourselves self-taught? Like you didn't follow a platform, you just did it all on your own. Cool, I'm in that camp. I had a small bit of formal education on coding, but I did a little bit in college, but most of the time I got the TAs or the teacher being like, how'd you do that? I'm like, well, I just read the documentation and I typed it or I copied and pasted it. It's weird how it works that way. Like, it's like if you look at the documentation for math and you follow what's in the textbook, you can apply it anywhere. It's kind of the same thing with coding. So my brain made some connections there, and it's kind of lucky. So I'm going to walk us through a typical boot camp structure that you'll see, especially the ones that I've been talking about. And we're just going to kind of run through real quick, and I'll add some humor here and there. But day 1 is set up the computer. Everyone shows up. It's usually about 30 students. You have about 10% to 20% are running Macs. You're just like, yes, thank you. Everyone else is on Windows of varying makes, varying updates. And you know, it's not too hard. You got to get like VS Code installed, do other things. One person shows up with Linux and you're like, I'm not an IT professional. I don't know what we're doing. And he's like, I got you, dude. I can hack this. We'll get it. It's like, okay. Week 1 and week 2, we focus on Get, HTML, and CSS. And we do Get in the terminal, right? Like that's how we all work. Everyone here uses Get in the terminal. Yes. Raise your hand if you don't use Get in the terminal. Yes. It is not the only way to do the job. I know people that only use VS Code's Git like extension stuff, and that's it. They don't use Git in the terminal because they don't have to. It's just the way we do it. Yeah. We do CSS real quick. We're like, hey, like you can select a div, and then all the divs look like this. Oh, and then we can do an ID, and then we can do a class, and it's like, whoa. And then I have to teach people to be really careful with IDs because we don't want people to have identity theft in coding, right? So it's like a whole thing I did on identity theft. Like, gotta be careful. You can't steal those IDs. Gotta be really careful with them. And then, you know, like 2 days into CSS, we're like, check out Bootstrap, right? Because that's what everybody does is Bootstrap. And it's just like, oh, look at this. You don't have to think about it. You just use class names. And students take off. We deploy to GitHub pages. Anyone ever deployed to GitHub pages? Like you just put it on there and then like a URL just magically works. That's kind of cool. There's some other things you can do to make it cooler. Like they started like integrating actions and stuff with them. But anyway, we won't get into that. And then the dropout for a refund deadline happens right now. Boom. So if you feel like you can't do this and you want your money back, this is the time to do it. If you wait 1 day after, you're stuck. It costs $10,000 and you're stuck. And most of the boot camps I've talked to, students that've done other boot camps, that I've seen this like model everywhere. And it's a business, right? But don't get me wrong, right? It's a business. They got to make their money. And then we talk about JavaScript fundamentals. And depending on your teacher, it might just actually be jQuery. Even today, in some curriculums, it's legitimately still just jQuery because the teacher, that's what the teacher knows. That's a curriculum the teacher knows. So that's what they teach. It's not wrong. I know a person that did got a full-time jQuery job about 3 years ago, and they were working like the most recent up-to-date version of jQuery. So like it's out there. It still gets used a ton. We just like to dog on it because we're like, oh, who would want to use that stuff? But you can still get jobs. But this is the problem for me, is week 1 and week 2, everyone's just like, I got this in the bag. I can code. I can do this. This isn't too hard. And then I say, cool, now we're going to store stuff as a variable. And we're going to make functions, and we're going to actually start problem solving. And I just turn on the fire hose and I watch everybody die. No one makes it through week 1. Week 2, a lot of people like recover and kind of catch their breath and get going again. I can't tell you how many people week 1 and week 2 I pull aside and I go, look, I'm not telling you you can't be a developer. It's not what I'm saying. I just don't think the time is right. Like one guy couldn't even install Chrome on his computer. Like I had to walk him through installing Chrome. It's just not, you're just not ready, right? You need a little bit more prep, right? And so this is the part of it that like feels gross to me. Like I would tell people, hey, I think you should drop. I don't think this will be good. And they tell me, nah, I talked to the recruiters or like the salespeople, like they told me I've got this, I've got it. And then the program gets over and they don't get a job. And then they go, Brian, why didn't I get a job? And I go, remember when I told you to drop? It's because I knew the rest of this would be too hard. I've seen the path, I've seen the future, right? We won't get into that too much, but there's something that I think we can do better overall in the education community. But and then right after this, we jump right into fetch, promise, local storage. And week 4, we're building your first project and deploying it to Heroku. What is it? Is that the name? Heroku? Yeah, I just quit using it because for so many reasons. But that's where we deployed, and it was great. People would build their first projects. They'd use like the weather API or Pokey API or Star Wars API. They'd build something. It was like, cool. Like this thing that you built is cool, but it's 9 times out of 10 not going to be impressive enough to get you through your first round of interviews and get you somewhere. But you built something, like thumbs up, love it. Then day 1, set up the computer again. Why? Because now we have to do Node. And again, I have out of 30 computers, 20 of them are running Windows, and I have to figure out how to get Node running on every single one of them. The NVM version for Windows is beautiful. The new terminal for Windows is beautiful, but when I was teaching, none of these things existed yet. And it really sucked. Anywho, then we do Express with templating handlebars. And then SQL and/or NoSQL kind of depended on the instructor, how they were feeling, how the class was feeling. Sometimes we'd just hit on like a simple MySQL database. Sometimes we'd also transition in Mongo and do NoSQL. My classes always got to see both because I wanted them to see like, wow, they're like the same thing. They do the same thing. Don't think about it too hard. Just choose one and go. That's not necessarily the right choice. If you have a large application, you really need to think about it. But for your boot camp, like who cares? Just choose one and go. And then week 8. So we're only at week 8. Now we do a second project. And then we're going to jump in here. Day 1, we got to set up the computer again because now we have to get React running with like build tools and everything. Fortunately, at this point, because we've got Node and everything, this is usually like, it takes minutes to get everyone to get their first create React app up and going. Or I guess now we'd use the Vite version. What's Vite? Oh, see? Then we do React, right? And then we do Computer Science 101 in a week. The whole curriculum shoved into a week. And it's just like glaze over the eyeballs because they need to know this stuff to get a job, right? Like every one of us is interviewed at Google and we have to do their bubble sort or their sorting algorithm interviews, or like Facebook, like everyone's done those interviews, yeah? I'm seeing some blank faces, like people haven't done those interviews. If you haven't, it's totally okay. Don't worry about it. There's only like 3 companies that actually do like these big intensive things. My company, our interview, we want to know how well we code with you and how well you code with us. So I have a React app that has a broken failing test. And I just say, fix the test and we paired, right? It was okay,
Yeah.
right, Matt?
Mhm. That's
Wasn't
very
too
much
bad.
what it was, yeah.
I didn't ask you how to bubble sort or
No.
solve an algorithm.
No.
I just wanted to know, like, could you talk to us while we code? Because that's what we do. Then we do Java for a week, because that's helpful. At this point, no one is listening to me and they're already started on their final project. They're only supposed to have 1 week on their final project, but they actually get 3 weeks because they don't pay attention for any of this. And I tell them not to pay attention, but I tell them we're going to do the class. We're going to record it because you have access to the recording for the rest of forever. So we're going to do it. And then later you can review it, but just work on your projects and I'll just teach the class. And if the manager of the class walks by and is like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, yeah, I'm just teaching bubble sort right now. And it's all good. I'm gonna go back real quick. I don't want to talk about that yet, quite yet. And then after this, they'll do some like job fair stuff and present like 2 groups of people, and people will come in and some of them will find jobs through that. Some people already have jobs lined up before their final project's done, which is super cool. I love those people. One of my favorite students, she didn't get a job for 8 months after completing. Or was it 10 months? I don't know. It was more than 8 months. But she ended up getting the highest paid job out of all of my students. She ended up getting an 80K job at Target, which blew my mind that she like ended up making more money than anybody, and she just was more patient. But she also applied to like 100 jobs, did like 40 interviews. She worked her butt off, but no one brought her in. And then finally, she met some good people at Target, got an awesome opportunity. I had lots of students walk out of the class and get like 50K jobs like day after graduation. That's pretty standard. You'll find in the industry of like, if I'm going to hire someone that's new and I don't know that they know how to do what they're doing, like 50 to 60K is usually like, I'll hire you, we'll test you out. And if it's good, we'll give you a bump. It's kind of pretty standard to see that. Some will get paid hourly, some will get actual salaries. I do salaries at my job with new people because I don't like hourly. I don't like managing the hourly crap. I'm lazy. Okay, so overall, there were some problems here. First, I want to talk about what we expect out of someone when we hire them and when they're starting off, right? Entry level versus principal or architect. So at my job, we have an entry level person and I have a principal. And if I need something done with authentication, I don't go to my entry level person, right? I just don't like that. I don't need them to do that. They can learn about it and they can grow and develop. And I might even have them pair with the principal while they integrate it. Oh, that was one that got missed back here though. Express and templating and authentication. Anywho, back over here. I don't need them to know all these things, right? When they're starting, I need them to be able to talk the language. I need them to be able to start problem solving. And I need them to feel comfortable asking for help, right? If they can do those 3 things, it's probably gonna work out well for them. Another thing that I love is, well, this is how I did it. I learned to program by learning jQuery. So therefore, all of you are gonna learn to program via jQuery with me, because that's how I learned and it was really effective. So it's gonna be effective for you. My dad's a high school teacher. He applies this regularly. My high school life sucked. I'm gonna make yours suck. He's really good at it. Yeah, he was my teacher my sophomore year in electronics. Good stories. We won't get into those. Outdated tech. This is a big problem. While I was there, they upgraded the curriculum from classes to hooks in 2019, which was a minute too late, in my opinion. I never actually taught the classes curriculum. I only taught hooks because I looked at it and I was like, no way. So I just rolled into it and said, hey, you're gonna find classes. It's good for you to know about them, but I want you guys producing things. Hooks will help you move quicker. So I rewrote the curriculum for myself in hooks. Later, they re-released the curriculum in hooks. It was great. I loved it. It was better for the students. They learned quicker. But in order for them to do that, they had to get permission from every university. And it went through so many hoops to change the curriculum of the boot camp that they just sign off on. They just put their stamp of approval on. That's all they do. And that drove me nuts. There's a huge lack of practice. If you want to get good at something, you have to practice, right? So I taught people how to play chess. That's why you get good at chess is to play chess, take notes, review your notes. If you're a wrestler, it sounds weird, but the best way to get good at wrestling is to record your matches and review them and to practice the basics, fundamental things over and over and over again. right? In the coding world, does anyone know how to just practice coding? Projects. Do projects, yes, absolutely. Projects are a great way to practice. Any other cool ideas?
Crazy.
Leak code like crazy, because every one of those problems, you're gonna do that at work someday. I love leak code, but hate it. I tried to have a new developer use leak code, and he's like, I don't understand half of these words. And I was like, right, you're not a math major, and they expect you to be a math major. There's another one called Code Wars. It's a little bit better, a little bit easier to read, but still a lot of these are like the classical, like, given 5 strings, loop them. Given 19 numbers, find the smallest one. And yes, we do these problems at work, but these aren't how these problems look, right? So projects is a great thing. I'm working on a tool, which I'm not going to show off here, and I'm not advertising it or anything, but I'm working on a tool that does kind of the reverse. Like, you're given an app and it says, hey, this app is broken in 17 different ways. What part do you want to practice on? You want to work on your conditionals? Do you want to work on looping? Right? And all these apps have these problems in them. And so then it breaks them down into these pieces. It's really kind of been really fun to build. But again, I'm not trying to sell it or anything, but it's just another way to think about the practice aspect.
Can I,
Yeah.
just to add on to that, I'm not advertising for this tool, but this is a tool I recently discovered called Skiller Whale.
What?
Skill, whale, pun, right?
Yeah.
They actually agree with like a lot of what you're saying, I think, and like they're having their way of getting the developers to practice is like be kind of like projects, but like they'll come in like once a week. Well, first they'll assess you and say, oh, you know React, but you're weak on hooks. So we're going to develop a curriculum based on hooks. And what we're going to do is pair with you. That's how you're going to practice. I'm going to give you a problem. We're going to pair together for like an hour. Great. And then I forget what the technique is called, like space learning. Like, I'm sure you guys have seen this with like flashcards or something. Review it 1 week, come back, do it again. And they structure that into their pairing. So it's like a very complete and novel, or different and novel like way to do this that is trying to address all the stuff you're talking about. I've never used it. I don't know if it's good.
But it's another option.
It's another option.
Scale well?
Skiller,
Skiller.
like killer with skills.
Gosh, I totally missed it because of the ear thing. That's what we'll blame it on.
You gotta see it written out.
Yeah, Skiller. Got it. That methodology, this is nerd news for you guys. I'm sorry. That methodology is called an intervention. It's actually not the type of intervention you guys are thinking of. But in the educational world, they'll do interventions where they'll, especially in math, they'll have the kid take a math test, and based on the score of the math test, they can actually plan out a good curriculum for that kid in the next week. I worked on a platform that did this at an individual level. And so individual kids would take tests, and then it would produce individual plans every week for the kid, right? And then based on the class's global scale, it would produce a plan for the entire class. It's really cool stuff. Yeah, can't get enough practice out there today. Building your own passion projects, I think, is the best way to get practice. And the last one, engine before drive. There's this like concept in coding that you have to know how the engine works before you can drive the car. Anyone here not have a driver's license? Okay, so you guys all understand what I'm talking about. Oh, did I? Dang it. It went to sleep again. It'll be back. In the United States, when you get a driver's license, you don't have to learn how the engine works, how combustion works. How many of you here make a React website and actually know how React renders in its render loop? Okay, a few of us feel confident in looking that up. Okay, I took a dive into React's code when they released hooks, and I was just like, cool, nope, and said, see you later. Recently, I've been trying to help the Remix team with a bug that my team found. So I have it all running locally, and I'm diving into their code, and I feel like I am like a million miles underneath the ocean and just like in the wrong spot. I have no idea what's going on. It makes me feel like I'm not a developer, but these are things created by geniuses, and I am not one of them. However, I can still use Remix. I can still use Next.js. I can use React without knowing how the engine works, right? And in my boot camps that I taught at, it was really fun because we spent a lot of time talking about the engine when it least mattered. And then when it mattered most, we spent no time talking about it. I couldn't figure it out, but just some interesting concepts there. So let's talk about the future. Let's go to 2034. All right, we're gonna just woo with me there, and we're gonna talk about what a boot camp looks like in 2034. And it's probably even more wildly different than what I'm proposing, but just bear with me. So day one, we use a cloud editor and we ship to Netlify, or it's probably actually Dino. Like, let's be honest, with everything that Dino is doing, Dino is probably the future. And day one, rather than setting up a computer, the person's writing code and shipped it out, right? I have a video on YouTube. I have 3 of them. One of them's hidden, so I have 2. We'll just talk about 2 of them. Where I talk about how like I messed up and forgot like someone's birthday or I need to apologize to them. And I run through in like 4 minutes using a template that I've already set up on Code Sandbox. And button clicking, you can deploy a website on Netlify. It takes about 10 minutes to go from Code Sandbox to deployed on Netlify. It's super cool. And that's just a static HTML, no build, no fancy stuff, just static stuff. The first thing though, we're going to talk about once you've built something, we're talking about how to use the internet to find what you're looking for, right? Every skill that I try to teach anyone when I'm trying to teach them how to code is how to look up what you're looking for, right? So if you're trying to find out how to do something with JavaScript, some keywords I always tell them to put in the search is MDN and JS. And I say, if you see that the first search result is W3 schools, don't let anyone else see you go there, but it's okay to go there. Just don't let anyone else see you do it. They're right sometimes, most of the time. There's a few times where it's questionable. When it comes to CSS, this one breaks my heart, but I tell people to put CSS-tricks and go there. Although I'm really disappointed. I think DigitalOcean recently bought them, and I'm really disappointed in everything that's going there. And I hope it doesn't die. It's been a great resource, but yeah. And then like if you need to look up stuff on HTML, MDN still like just don't think too hard about that one. There's not a lot of good resources on HTML documentation. I mean, I guess you could look at like W3's like actual documentation, but like MDN's great. Then we're going to start actually talking about building an app, right? And this app that we're building, since we're using this like future thing and we're thinking about how this is working, like I guess probably on Dino, there's probably no build tool, and we're able to just write div, forms, inputs, and buttons like right away, right? And probably should be section or you take your pick, right? And those are the only 4 HTML components we're going to ever teach them. Why? Because semantic HTML is amazing and they will learn it. They will have to, but I'm more interested in results. And so if I only teach them these 4 things, these 4 HTML elements, then when we work on CSS, they have to learn a lot more about what CSS does and how it works, right? And 9 times out of 10, any place I've worked at, all the H1s through H6s look the same because we get rid of the client CSS, and then it's just whatever we apply, right? What is it called? Someone help me out here.
User
Resets, yeah, reset, yeah. So we make it all go away, and it just looks bland. It looks the same, and then we incrementally add in what we need, right? The reason Tailwind, we'll talk heavily about in a little bit, but Tailwind has a lot of wins for us, and one I'm most excited about. We'll talk about it. But they also don't have to do that. They can just stick with CSS fundamentals. Tailwind is just like a good evolution of like, here you can not have to write the CSS file and the classes. You just write the classes in CSS all in one spot. And then we do JavaScript fundamentals, and we're going to keep it simple, stupid, simple. Whatever. We're going to keep it simple, right? And the reason this is how many ways are there to iterate in JavaScript? If you need to iterate over a chunk of information, how many ways? Any numbers? Anyone got a guess?
4 let I, 4 of, 4 in, dot for each, dot math.
You go, right? We can also throw in a reduce. and like have more fun there. We got filter sorts, like we got all different ways to like hit the iterative loop. It just may not be the right tool for the loop. So we're only gonna teach one iterative loop, and it's just the for loop, because it solves 98% of your use cases. It just means you actually have to program more, and you have to learn a little bit more about how it works. So while they could learn sorts, they could learn map, and they could learn reduce, we're gonna kind of pull back and have them learn just one mechanism, right? Conditionals, right? We've got switch statements, if else's, ternaries, like the list goes on, right? We choose one, teach them that one, right? They can go learn about the others, and they will, they'll have to. But I'm interested in driving results, and I don't want to spend 9 days teaching them all about the different conditionals and then mixing them all together, and it's a spaghetti of conditionals, and they're not sure which one does which or how they look, right? They'll get there and be able to handle them all, but at day one, let's just teach one. So that's it on the JavaScript fundamentals. And now that we've talked about JavaScript fundamentals, we are a business, we do need to make money. So there is a drop deadline, but we're gonna actually show you how hard it is before we drop, right? Before we take your money for us. So I feel less dirty about this than the other option. This makes me feel a little bit more happier because I've showed you the hard stuff. So then right after this, then we'll jump into JSX server-side rendered. It's Remix, Next.js. It's going to be something else that shows up in the next 3 years. It's cooler and built on top of Bun's framework, and can't see dogs and like invented it. So whatever. It'll be an iteration, right? It's actually probably going to be fresh on Dino, but like this is Remix, so it's Remix. But we'll have Remix. There is a starter template, and I want to put an emphasis on template here, right? As an education system, we're going to give them something that already exists for them to build on top of, right? So my class, I never taught authentication. I said, here's an authentication module that's set up for you to just use, because I would never trust a junior developer to build, and I shouldn't say junior, an apprentice, a beginner to build my authentication layer, right? I just wouldn't do that. That's messed up to them when it goes wrong. And also it's scary to me when it goes wrong. So this concept of like, as the educator, we're their principal engineers, we're their architects, we should give them what they would have at the job, right? They're gonna have a lot of these things in place. So then we do project one, now that we kind of have some stuff going on. And this project, because it's using quote unquote the full stack, it actually might be valuable to their portfolio and not just like hey, we built something. Then we're gonna talk about our AI code pal. Chat GP97, GitHub Copilot, whatever it is, right? And the reason back to this tailwind, I built an app with GitHub Copilot, or not GitHub Copilot, well, with GitHub, but also with Chat GPT. And most people are like, well, yeah, everyone did that, Brian. It was a cool like thing, everyone did it. But what everyone I saw do was they said, I'm gonna assume I don't know how to code, and I'm gonna see how much it can do for me. And I said, well, that's like, none of us are gonna use it that way, right? So how are we actually gonna use these AI clients? And so I told my Chat GPT instance, I was like, look, dude, I know how to code, okay? And it was like, yeah, you do. I was like, cool, we're gonna build an app. And I described the app to it. And then I said, we need to build out like the first page. Can you like help me flesh that out? We're gonna use React. And then I also said, we're gonna use Tailwind. And it understands Tailwind so well. Like it blew my mind. And then that required me not to have to copy and paste a whole bunch of CSS as well, right? Because it just understood Tailwind. There are some newer parts of Tailwind it didn't have, but ultimately it just understood things. And one problem with AIs that we have today is they don't have a visual, like ChatGPT 4 doesn't quite understand visual things. It gets like left, right layout stuff. But like if you're trying to make a pretty app, it sucks. But again, we're not trying to write the whole app. We're trying to solve what one of my coworkers refers to as the blank page issue. Every junior developer, sorry, I keep saying that. Every starting developer doesn't know where to start usually. And so if they could type in English, hey, I have a word and I need to loop through all the characters and find all the vowels, right? ChatGPT will be like, cool, yeah, here it looks like this. And it's gonna show them a cool way to do it. And they're gonna go, cool, I don't understand what you did. Can you do it in JavaScript? And they'll be like, oh, yeah. So then they'll get it in JavaScript and they'll be like, I've never seen a loop like that before. Can you do it with a for loop? And it goes, oh, yeah, let me rewrite it with a for loop. And so they can tell it the tools that they're aware of and get there. The other thing that it does beautifully well is it explains code pretty well, pretty good. It does a great job at explaining code. So if they get that example that has a new type of iterator or something they're not used to, they can say, hey, can you explain this to me? And it goes, yeah, it does. These are all the things that are happening. It's pretty effective. If you haven't used ChatGPT to try and code or like used it, do so. It's super cool. The other one, GitHub Copilot, my code, sorry about this, Matt, but my code, I have super verb-based functions in my code, because if I write the function name well enough, GitHub Copilot will write the whole function for me. So I have one, I have a function that's called turn all address acronyms into their long forms. And it takes ST and turns it into street, ST dot turns it into street, av into avenue. And it also added all the case insensitive stuff to it, which was super nice. And then at the end, I had to give it an example of like north and south, because we did north and south differently than the rest of it. And so I had to like show it. And then I just hit enter tab, and like wrote the whole function for it. It's one of my favorite functions that I've ever not written. Because normally I go to like GitHub, I Google it, and then I end up on Stack Overflow and I copy and paste stuff. And then I have to think like, oh, what's the next one? Avenue, court. Yeah, I don't know all those, but GitHub Copilot does, because it scanned it from one of your repos and just used it, right? So there's a whole ethical thing here that we could spend all day talking about. Please forgive me. This is not the forum for that. We're going to move on, but there's some really interesting tool usage here that I think at a beginner level, it'd be really unfortunate not to involve it in their learning process. Then we'll talk about session storage. Template driven, we'll have a function that they can import and use and not have to write session storage. But this is the way the internet typically kind of does it, hence the remix flow here. And we'll give them some way to store info. And then we're gonna talk about data storage. Has anyone here had a chance to play with Dino's KV stuff? Sick, cool, neither have I. But my coworker, Nathan, he did, and he was in their like hackathon they had a couple of weeks ago. So KV, key value pairs, right? It's a NoSQL database. And it's on the edge right next to whatever you've deployed, because Dino's like all about that, right? And was really easy. Like looking at the code and how it's set up, it's just like, it's like you're accessing an object that's a global object. And then you're just throwing junk on it, ripping junk off of it. It's scary because it's just an object. You're just ripping stuff and pulling stuff on. So like authentication concerns are big there for me, but has some simple, easy data storage system that is there for them. They don't have to learn like all of the crazy MongoDB stuff. They can use an ORM to kind of help them through the process. But this takes down a lot of things. And then project 2, right? We now have like a back end. We have a database that can do something a little bit more substantial. So let's build another project. And then, I mean, what else more is there to learn, right? The best way to learn is to do things. So we just do projects. And then I think every education system should just have a dedicated recruiter. It actually earns them more money. It can help the classes be cheaper. Because like if I place Matt as a recruiter somewhere, I'm getting anywhere from 10 to 30% of his salary, depending on the negotiations that are made and the relationships that exist, right? So I can actually pay for all of Matt's education just by placing it. And this is a spot that a lot of schools don't have faith in doing, because they know their systems don't actually get everyone into schools, right? I love the programs that say you don't pay a dime until we place you in a job, because they believe in their systems. Then they have a dedicated recruiter to get you somewhere. They have relationships, and they screen you like hardcore. If they don't think you're ready to do it, they won't let you do it. I love those places. The places like the places I worked, they'll take your 10K. And then when your instructor tries to fail you because you just sent in other people's homework repos the entire year and didn't actually do the work, they will tell the instructor to still just sign the certificate because they paid $10,000 and they don't want to deal with it. I signed a lot of certificates that I shouldn't have. It feels gross. I hate it. It devalued everyone else's certificate. But the university didn't have to deal with a refund. So that was nice, or anything else. So, yay. And then here's a piece of code that means absolutely nothing because my presentation is over.
Oh, number 5.
Ultimately, like, from all of this, like I since leaving the education system, I've taught several people how to code. One of them, I got hired at my current job. Did I hire him? No, he went through the interview process and the team had to agree that he was good enough to get hired, and he was, right? And my system looked a lot more like this that I went through with him. And I'm getting ready to do it again on Twitch, and most of my students are actually Lyft drivers. It's like all of them are like every Lyft driver I meet wants to be an engineer and like be a developer. My driver actually here tonight is a QA engineer, and he was going to come back, but I don't see him. So, but yeah, he was like, yeah, I should come. I'm like, yeah, you should, but he's got to pay bills, so I get it. Yeah. Any general questions for me? Yeah.
So when you say, let's talk about the future, is this where you see the industry going, or is this where you want the industry to
Okay, so how much does Brian tell the future is the question. So Brian starts his first job and he builds a system on Salesforce, like the company's website was built on Salesforce with Angular. Because Angular was like the way to do it. Why? Because you could Google and find answers on Angular because it was the hottest thing at the time, right? If you wanted to know how to do something in jQuery, you could find it, but you would find even cooler answers in Angular, which was also technically using jQuery. Anyway, we won't get into that. Then we move into my next season of life where I started telling everyone React is actually way better. They have this cool new thing called JSX, where this is where all of my mentors in life hated me because I started programming and I put my CSS and my JavaScript and my HTML all in one file. And they said, no, Brian, you can't do that. You have to have a CSS file and a JavaScript file, and you use these like link tags to bring them into your HTML file. That's how you do it. And then I showed them like I was writing HTML in my like JavaScript function with this thing called JSX, and they were just like done. Like they just were like, we can't handle this. And then my next wave of mentors, when I made a separate CSS file and a separate JS file, they're like, no, stop. You have to put the CSS in your JS file. And I was like, what is going on? Like, so anywho, to answer your question, I think AI is going to start being a much bigger part of our jobs, and we need to learn how to use it. What that looks like, I think is it's an assistant that can have, it's like a second brain that can just help you with the blank page or help you with what's next. In the education system, because we're all used to using AI as a tool, like in all of our everyday lives, I'm imagining that it's just going to naturally become part of the education system, especially in coding, because everyone at my job has GitHub Copilot. Like we pay for it so that everyone can have it because it's the right choice, right? It makes engineers so much more productive, right? So I think we're going to see that in the education space, that like there's going to be this drift to getting people to producing portfolios that are actually like help them get a job, right? Anyone here have an art degree? Kind of, sort of.
Almost finished.
Almost finished. Cool. Yeah. So if you're working on art, your whole college career, you're working on your portfolio, and you get to show that stuff forever. You'd be like, look at this cool stuff I did in 7th grade. I know it's still dope, right? I can't show what I did in 7th grade as a coder because it's not
that relevant.
Yeah. But does that?
go? It sounds like, well, you're touching on the AI piece. So it sounds like the portfolio aspect. I guess my question is there a business incentive for these boot camps to move towards this style? Or are the business incentives keeping them stuck in the style that they have now?
Yeah. So let me step back here real quick, and then I saw your hand. I'll come to you next. Java for 1 week because that's helpful, right? This 1 week of Java education happens in Minnesota because like 30% of the hiring force there that they interviewed said we still use Java as our main backend. So it'd be nice for these engineers who are going to be our front end engineers who aren't going to be touching the Java backend. It'd be nice for them to at least know about it, right? And so that shows up in the curriculum because of that, right? So as a hiring manager, I know the boot camp in Arizona. I taught it in Minnesota. I know the people that are there, and I talk to them and I say, hey, look, all of my engineers use GitHub Copilot. Do you talk about how to use GitHub Copilot efficiently? And they go, no, we don't even know how to build a curriculum around that. And I go, cool, let me show you because I can help you do that, right? So over time, it's going to be driven by our industry, right? And how we develop, right? The reason that the MERN stack, everyone knows MERN stack, what is it? Mongo, Express, React, Node, and Node is also the Express part, whatever, it's fine. That is a stack that gets taught a lot because why? Because all of these companies just like, oh, we got to use MERN stack, right? Including Walmart. Walmart was like, we got to use MERN stack. So then everyone just starts teaching, right? But then there's this part of like, we're on the cutting edge right now with Remix, what Next is doing, and no bootcamp I'm aware of is teaching Next. No bootcamp I'm aware of is teaching Remix. That would be a choice. But they will be. They have to, because that's what we need. That's what we're hiring, right? A lot of these new jobs that are popping up are using newer technologies. And so I want to see it go here, yes, but we as an industry are going to drive it where we drive it. There's the boot camp. One of the main boot camps in Boise is heavily focused on Angular because most of the job up there, the job networking up there is Angular related, right? And so they don't really have a strong MERN presence. They have the mean presence with Angular instead of React. Anything else? Good. All right.
I want to add on to your little segment on AI and Copilot. On my current job, I got hired as a Java developer, even though I never wrote a single line of Java in my life. So I crash course Java with Udemy 2 weeks before I started the job. And a lot of the stuff that I don't know, I still have experience as a software engineer, but a lot of stuff that I don't know from the massive enterprise Java, I would use ChatGPT to kind of explain. I would use explain to me like I'm 5, be concise, and explain what it's doing. And from there, we're able to Google and find and actually contribute. I just want to add on to that.
Yeah.
Saying that AI will actually it's a good tool and will, fill up all the gaps in your knowledge, like the blank page in your brain.
Yeah. My job has C# or .NET, all the things. I don't know anything about that thing. Like GitHub Copilot knows what I need to do and helps me through my day. So yeah, totally echo that.
C# is just Microsoft Java.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I took up all the time, it looks like. So sorry. Any other questions? Cool. Let's just be glad that this was the condensed version of the talk and not the bigger talk, right? I can unplug. We're good. Cool.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
There are some technologies I hope we're not using in 10 years. Just want to speak websites into existence. No,
JavaScript even exist in 10 years.
made it this far.
JavaScript. Yeah, I think there's a whole talk about it. But yeah.
Speaking of talks, if you have any talk ideas, feel free to hit me up in person or via whatever social you want to try and get a hold of me on, or we have a form, and that's actually the easiest way to get to me because it asks for all the information I'm inevitably going to ask you anyway. So if you have any talk ideas, let us know. Colby's already signed up for next month. Speaking of next month, August 2nd, book your calendar, mark your calendars. Yes, there we go. Probably when our next meetup will be, I'll create the event as soon as I get that confirmed with the powers that be here. And going back one more, like I mentioned, we have a website, just always plugging that. We are probably going to spend some time next month as well, working on the website a little bit, just for those who want to hack a little bit. It's just a good opportunity to learn together, kind of like you're saying, building those passion projects. The reason we're not doing that tonight is because I didn't prepare to do that tonight. But I've had multiple people ask that we do this. So by popular demand, we will do it next time. And I'm saying that so that y'all can hold me accountable and get mad at me when we don't do it. So yeah, thanks everyone so much again for coming out. If there's any pizza left, let's try and demolish that, get rid of that. I don't want to take that home. Otherwise, hang out for a little bit. We have the building till 8, so you're welcome to hang out, keep socializing and whatnot. But yeah, thanks again.